Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Ballcaps and Bagpipes, a Scottish baseball podcast. I am John McKellar. I am running solo this evening. My broadcast partner, Jason Dare, is currently at a work function and is expecting to be drinking until about 4 a.m. So it's just me this week. I am, however, joined by two very special guests. We're going to first bring on Ewan Spence of Baseball Scotland. He has been the official scorer for Edinburgh-based baseball games this year. He's also a podcaster in his own right, so I'm going to ask him about that later. Afterwards, we will speak to Marina de Angelis of the Tayport Breakers. She's going to talk to us about the Breakers' run to the Caledonia Classic this past Sunday. And of course, if anyone saw the live stream of the game this past Sunday, you'll know that they, for the first time ever, won that Caledonia Cup, beating last year's winners, despite going down by 4 runs early on in the game. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at the score. It was 9-7 Breakers, the final score over the Edinburgh Diamond Devils team that had won 8 in a row, including the semi-final coming in. So the second half of this season was basically dominated by the Diamond Devils. The Tayport Breakers, however, as my guest Ewan Spence said at the top of the broadcast on Sunday, they were a team this season that were always at their best with their backs to the wall. They found themselves down in a lot of situations, and there's just zero quit in this team whatsoever. That proved to be the case again this past Sunday. And despite the fact that they were against a team that had won 8 straight, a team that was at home, the Devils, it's worth noting, had the home field advantage. The Breakers were able to come from behind late on and take the 9-7 victory. Let's bring our first guest on. And the first guest I'm going to speak to tonight is Ewan Spence of Baseball Scotland. Ewan Spence, welcome to the show.
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all our listeners around the world. Hello, John, how are you?
I am very well, Ewan. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I know that we only really met properly this past Sunday, but you've become a bit of a fixture around Edinburgh baseball. Why don't you talk about how you got involved with baseball in Edinburgh and a wee bit about your role as the scorer of the games?
Yeah, let's start at the end. I am allegedly the official scorer, and I think that's by dint of nobody else wanted to do it or was quite sure how to do the squiggly shapes. There you go. It's a skill. It's like, I can't throw a ball. There you go. I can draw a line that says where the ball went. So that's perfectly fine. I think it really started for me just before lockdown. I've followed baseball because of my work. It takes me to America occasionally. So have been on the MLB at-bat subscription and all of that for a good 10, 12 years now. And just before lockdown kicked off, I'm just walking home one day past Warriston Fields, and it's like, that looks like baseball. That is baseball. Oh, that's interesting. Little walk down the field. Training session, just kind of looked around, a little bit shy. Said, oh, got to remember that. Look it up when I get home. Got home. Oh, right, they've got a Facebook page. Great. And then lockdown happened. So that idea went on the back burner. And at the start of this year, it was a case of I need to get out of the house. I need to do something. I need to re-engage, but still, not really wanting to be in a closed space, still feeling a little bit awkward around a lot of things. We just bring that down there. And I just thought, oh, yeah, there's the baseball. So sent a little Facebook message turned out to be Paul. I said, oh, pop down at the training session on the midweek and we'll have a chat. And I think at that point it was right, we've got somebody else who wants a game. And it's just like, I'm like, no. Happy to be involved. What else can I do? Because my thing with any sort of these clubs is there's always stuff to do at the back end as well as front of house. And it was a sort of rundown, what can you do? What can't you do? And I've just been sort of scoring because when I went to see the games over in San Francisco, it's just like, there's a bit of paper, just have some fun with that while we do a 3 or 4 hour game. I think that second game, there was like a 17-inning game at Giants Park in an evening game. So it's like, it didn't finish till 2:00 in the morning and I was already jet lagged. So it's like, yay. That burned it into my head. So it's like, whenever the season always started in MLB, it's just like, print out a scorecard, keep it going. Eventually turns out that I knew enough of what was going on that it was just like, right, start and do that. And that, just pop along on a Sunday, grab a score sheet and just watch along, see how it goes. Huge difference, of course, because you've got some of the best views in the baseball. You can stand right on the sidelines. You can't do that in an American ballpark. You also don't have action replay, and you're very low to the ground. So it's quite different scoring it, watching in a nice, comfy seat in arena, or watching it streaming onto the TV than actually standing right behind home plate. But they're all wonderful. And then just over the season, it's been get a little bit better, follow through the scores, start learning the app, and then just working on that. And the great thing about scoring is when you get into all those really weird things and the really weird rules you have to know, you've got to be completely clear on them, or at least enough to know that you're not going to put that one down because you can build it up in your chart again. It's a great way to learn beyond the basic rules. So it's just like you completely, there's no way just watching at home that I would ever need to know the difference between a pass ball and a wild pitch. All I know is something's gone wrong. Let's have some popcorn. Oh, what a surprise. Bart's dropped it again. Yeah, still bitter. But he got better after he came back from being dropped. And that improved my knowledge of the game. And that improved the scoring of the game. And as you'll have seen there at the Caledonian Classic, it was running the iPad and the paper chart at the same time. And, knowing myself which one is right at the time, taking a little note down. Then you can come back and print it all out. I think, John, you got the bits of paper sent over.
I did indeed. Yeah, I've got it here.
Great examples here. Here's Tapework's paper copy. Let me just try and bring that in. There's the game. And just for everybody else, I've done a nice inked copy, so we've got a better bit of contrast going on here. So we'll just hold this up like a graphic now. And that basically describes the game. I'm sure everybody knows what a scorecard looks like. And everybody knows that everybody draws them slightly differently. This is how I draw mine. That's the game.
We'll have to get it signed by Marina later and get it put up for auction ahead of the awards night.
Yeah, it's probably going to cost more in listing fees than it will earn on eBay. What I really liked is it was really easy to get involved. For anybody who's just watching this and it's got, you're going to have to wait a bit. There's 2 single A games over the next two weekends, but there are lots of things to do, and that. From setting out the board, or I know that we've got a couple of us are looking to learn the basics of umpiring next year. So that gives options to go from like a 1-man or a 2-man, two umpire crew up to a 2-umpire, a 3-umpire crew in the regular season games. And okay, they might not be on top of every single rule, but that's why you've got a crew chief. And it's just like, you're there for 90% of the calls, and the other 10%, it's just like, we need to have a talk. This is what I saw. What happened in the same way that this whole season I've been going, Paul, how do we score what I've just seen there?
Yeah.
It's just like, I can just about describe what happened, but I've got to get it down into like 5 button presses or 3 squiggly lines. And you Absolutely. Get that and build up, and it just gives you an extra set of the game. I mean, like yourself, John, when we're doing the commentary, I'm quietly just feeding you notes as we're going on what's been happening in previous rounds, because to me it's dead easy just to look back across that one line for the player.
Hopefully very quietly and no one at home heard it.
We'll get you a slightly more directional mic next time so nobody can hear me. But it's another way of doing teamwork.
Absolutely. And you did join us for a bit of commentary on Sunday. And you, again, you made a great point at the start of the game that the Tapework Breakers, this team was always at their best when their back was at the wall this season. We saw it in single A. It came right down to the final day of the single A season. The Breakers obviously beating the Comets after coming from behind. It was a 5-0 Comet lead after 2 innings. The Breakers scored 7 unanswered to take that title. They did something very similar this past Sunday, and you kind of telegraphed that a bit pre-game.
I think that is giving me far too much hype. No, it's perfect. I understood the game perfectly like you predicted. No. I'm still at the point where I'm just hopefully I've got the shirt numbers down right, because I want to look up and go, who is that on third base? Have I got this right? Or is that pair? It is that pair. Oh, good. Right. So,
yeah, I mean, I've played against these people, both sides, and I still struggle with this. So
but I think the point is, for that basic reading of the game. I'll go back to this chart now, and you can probably see the difference actually. So here's the Devil's side thing, and a filled in diamond means you've scored a run. So let's keep it simple. So you can see there. Let me just do the pen in this highly advanced graphic that went off to an absolutely cracking start, and then look, just absolutely held off in this middle section of the game. Nothing. A really good attempt to try and get back. There's 3 slap bang at the end, and they weren't that far off. It has to be said. But if we flip that over now and have a look at Takeport, you'll see that such a sluggish start again because there's not much there. It's just like 3 up, and then you can just see the pressure building up. You can see the innings going longer. You can see them getting deeper and deeper in the batting order each time they come up, and then there's this massive acceleration right at the end of bang, 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 bang. And that's one of the things I love about scorecards. You can get a 3-hour game in that amount of space, and you can just look at it and you can see the shape of the game right there just now. Even though you don't understand all the squiggles there, you can see that it started strong, nothing in the middle, rally at the end, started slow, built up. You can see the shape, and there's a beauty in that. In the same way that people have a beauty of just getting it in, getting it out to the boundaries and hitting the boundary. I'm turning it to cricket now, aren't we? 6. That's a 4. It's not 6. 6 is that. I know.
I don't watch cricket.
There's a lovely video of YouTube of a British cricket announcer. It's a spoof trying to do cricket commentary to an American baseball game. Right. It is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, you can see the shape there, and also you can just look along a player's line and you can see the shape of a player's game. If we take the professor himself, that line there, you can just see that it's strike and then productive going through. Which, Ben, I can just look back and just quietly lean over to you during the commentary going 2 for 3. Because it's just looking back over the line and counting the bottom number and counting how many boxes there are done. 2 filled in, 3 boxes, 2 for 3.
So do you see yourself sticking around and doing this permanently?
I certainly see myself sticking around. That's the first thing. Do I see myself sticking around doing this permanently? Yes, although there is that interest in the umpiring as well. But let's see how things go next year. Again, it's like where's the help needed? There's no harm in doing both. Both of them need a good thing of the rules. There's a different skill in scorecarding than there is to where to stand on the field, and I'm sure I'll be just as ropey at the start of a season and be able to fake it by the end of the season. But it's getting involved, it's getting in the community, getting a club, so I don't see why not. There is something satisfying about having to focus that long for 3 hours and to be able to turn around and reconstruct a game from just a few lines.
Absolutely, yeah. I completely agree. It was quite a good experience to do commentary and have you sitting there doing the scoring, because it meant that I was able to concentrate on the kind of what was going on in the current at bat a bit more, and not have to try and remember numbers and this and that. So that was always very nice to have you beside us, and certainly we're going to do it again just a week from Sunday when it comes time for the single A Caledonia Classic.
Apparently I am, yes. Nobody's asked him, just told, you two of you are doing it, am I? Okay, I can't drive, I'll need to find a way there, wherever it is, but we'll get something sorted out. But that's why, if you think of, this is why I love American sports, because they have the play-by-play and they have the color. And even though we never discussed who was going to take on which role, it's you look back, it's very clear. John, you were doing all the color. And I was doing as much of the play-by-play as I could, because I was doing scoring first and then feeding back in. If you had somebody else who was doing the scoring, then I would still be doing the paper copy, but it would be to feed in more numbers to you. Yeah. And there was points we could do that. It's like it took so long to get a base on balls. I don't think we got a base on balls in that game until we got to about the 5th inning. Yeah, I think it was the 4th or the 5th. Yeah. Yeah. I know I'm looking back in it now. What's incredibly interesting is the earned runs. If we just look back at that, earned runs, 4-2 to the Devils. Wow. It just goes to show how much those couple of errors in particular in the 7th inning really changed the game. And it was just like one each. And it's, and if you look back at that seventh inning, both of them were, high scoring. The Tayport popped in 4 runs in their seventh inning. And the Devils popped in 3. But all of those runs came after 2 strikes. All of those runs came literally at the death. It was just like, if there's an out, if there's a bad play here, those 2 scoring runs end. So when we talk about how close this game was, it's actually even closer when you actually sit down and look at it, because going into that 7th inning, both teams showed that anything could happen. And the margins are incredibly small. And that's the way it should be. That's how you get an exciting game. You've got 2 teams equally matched, but with skills in different areas. And they both, in their own way, found their best game running in at the end.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's game of inches. They call it a game of inches, and that's been very expertly magnified by both these teams this past Sunday. The Caledonia Classic, of course, won by the Tayport Breakers. We have a member of the Breakers here, former guest. She's coming back on the show again. It's Marina de Angelis. And at this time, I want to bring her in and get her perspective on this past Sunday. Hello, Marina.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Marina. Thanks so very much for waiting. Thanks so very much for coming back on the show. Marina, this past Sunday, the Tayport Breakers added to their Single A League Championship, of course, winning the big one, the Caledonia Classic, Caledonia Cup Champions 2022. For a team that's just finished its second full season, that's quite an impressive trophy cabinet already. First off, just a couple of days removed, what's your perspective on the game itself?
Still on a high from it, to be honest. I think it was some great baseball played that day, and I'm just so proud of my teammates, every single one of them. I think we fought tooth and nail throughout that whole game. It was a bit of a slow start, as you guys noted there, but we picked up a bit of steam, and then we just kept rolling on. And it's a really beautiful thing when you can just trust everyone of your teammates, everyone you share the field with, everyone on the bench. You just know that you have so much faith in them and that we can make something pretty cool happen. So I'm just still buzzing.
Now, it's been said multiple times on Sunday and of course this evening that the Tayport Breakers are a team that has performed best when the chips are down. You guys had to come from a 5-run deficit in the second inning to win that last game and clinch the Single A division title. It was a similar situation this past Sunday. You gave up the 4 runs quite early to the Devils. The defensive play in the first inning in particular was pretty shaky. Was there a point at that kind of early stage of the game where you guys let the heads drop a bit and it felt kind of like the loss was going to creep in? Because bearing in mind that this was a team that you guys defeated that had won 8 in a row since the All-Star break. So tell me about that.
You know what? Like, just the day started a bit off. Even our infield, outfield, I was like, guys, wow, we're not looking too hot, myself included. And it was a bit, not a great feeling to go in the first couple innings. A couple mistakes were made, and the Devils, they capitalized on every mistake that we made. Fair enough, they're good ball players. I think a great thing about the Breakers, and something that I've noticed like throughout the last 2 years, is that when we get down, we don't stay down. And I think there's a lot of nobody's on the team is selfish at all. We just pick each other up and we say, come on guys, make the next play. We're all going to make errors, but it's the play after that's the big deal. Are you going to make the next play? And I think it's just really good that we all were able to pick ourselves up and just carry on. It's easy to get yourself down in baseball. It's a humbling sport for sure, but it was just really, really cool to see us pick it up, and then that momentum started. So I'm not even worried for a second.
Speaking of momentum, I'm just looking down here. The Breakers, didn't get on base until the start of the 3rd inning.
Yes,
and that was you.
That was me. Yes.
3 up, 3 down in the first inning. 3 up, 3 down in the second. You walk up and you just go, let's get on base. Bang. What does it feel like, knowing that you're just the whole team is just like, okay, look, next swing will be something. The ball has no memory. The ball has no memory. The ball has no memory. What did it feel like going up to open the third inning?
Yeah, it felt good. I was, I was ready to hit, honestly. Sylvain's dad made these awesome bats for us and our team, and I thought, man, I can do everything. This is a magic bat. I've been swinging at stuff I should have no business even touching, and I don't know, that bat's magic. So, but yeah, like wasn't discouraged coming up to bat, thinking, every time you step up to the plate, it's a new opportunity to start something off, and I was really happy that worked out.
I mean, and you worked through as well. We should point out you took it to a full count. You're sitting there as 3-2 as well. So this wasn't, again, it was back to the wall in that individual at bat as well. Yeah, definitely. I don't know why I do this. I always get myself 2 strikes on before I decide to do anything useful. So just try to make it interesting. But it's kind of like a microcosm for the whole game. We waited a little bit long to get things started. And even in the 7th inning, when we got, 4 runs or something there, that was all on 2 outs. We had no base runners. I think there was 2 outs, and then we just had this massive rally. So it's really cool to see us light a little fire in our bellies, even though there's, it looks like, who's going to be the one to start it. And, we could just roll over and give up there. We can make something happen.
Now, you, of course, made a huge impact coming up with that. I believe it was a bloop single to straightaway centre field that you started off the 3rd inning with. From there, fortunes did turn for the Breakers. At what point did you feel like the momentum had truly shifted in the game and that you had a shot at putting this one away?
Yeah, you know what? I think it was the 3rd inning. I think we had a clean inning. Maybe it was the 3rd or the 2nd or something, but I think we had a really, really clean inning. And I'm like, that's it, guys. Come on. That's what we play like. Come on. We've got this. So yeah, it was somewhere in there. I think it might have started with a good defensive inning. And then we got a couple of runs. I said, yeah, that's us. We're ready to go now. It would have been nice right from the get-go, but we like to make things interesting.
And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't speak of the effect that Xinyan Lei had on the game. Xinyan was surprisingly economical, Ewan, with his pitch count. I remember Luis Marino, his kind of bloated quite a bit toward the 5th and 6th innings. But Xinyan, like he usually does, to be fair, stayed consistent, always looked very calm, never looked like the game was getting away from him, even when it was a 4-0 deficit. Just how important is that guy to the way you guys play your game?
Oh, you can't even put into words. He's a massive, massive part of our team, and this wouldn't have been possible without him. He was in there day in, day out, pitching for us, throwing incredible games, like just clinical. Like he's so good, and it's so great to see. I remember having chats with him and saying, how he used to play himself, and I'm like, wow, what was it like pitching back home for you? And he's like, oh, I didn't really pitch. I played shortstop. I'm like, oh, get real. Are you kidding me? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm happy to play any position, but yeah, I think he played a lot of his years there. And this guy is insanely good. And just his whole mindset about the game, his talent, his determination, his pride in the sport. Honestly, it's awesome. And I love just chatting to him about baseball in general. But I mean, geez, that guy is insane. No matter where we are, he's going to throw strikes. And I just have so much faith in him that he's going to get the job done. And I think all of us almost crapped our pants, for lack of a better term, when he got that long drive. Right at him.
Yeah.
Cucumber, and throws it to first. We're thinking, oh my God, please, nothing bad happened to this beautiful human. Yeah, we love him.
What is it like when he came into the team? Because there must have been a moment where somebody comes in, when he comes into the team, and you're looking out going, okay, yeah, it's great, welcome, come on in. Mm-hmm. What can you do? Oh, man.
I was like, thank God I don't have to pitch anymore. Honestly. Yeah, that's me out. No, it was just so good to have him. I feel like when he first came, obviously he'd been involved in Baseball Scotland for a long time, but new to the Tayport team. And we were a new team ourselves. I mean, I think he came in partway through the season last year. And we had new people kind of rolling in all over the place, people popping up. So it wasn't abnormal to have someone pop up out of the woodworks. But my God, we're so happy to have him, and just what he offers, not even just during the games, but during all the practices, his coaching abilities, his knowledge of the sport, and his ability to talk to players and get them thinking in different ways, whether that be veteran players that have been playing for years and years, whether that be newcomers, some younger kids coming out to try out the sport. He's so happy to help everyone, and it's such a great thing. It's one thing being a great ball player. It's another thing just being a great person and being able to coach people and help grow the sport. So, yeah.
Now, Le Brûleur, as he was apparently known back in his Edinburgh days, Mr. Sylvain Morisseau had an absolutely outstanding game. He was 3 for 4, I believe, at the plate, and made at least 3 or 4 outstanding plays out in left field.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I would have said that Sylvain was probably the MVP of the game, maybe next to Shin Yen. Talk to me about the game he had on Sunday and the effect that might have had on calming you guys down.
Oh, geez, monumental. The catches he made out in left field were clutch. They were incredible, and not everyone can make those plays. I remember this one. There was a far hit ball straight directly over his head. I thought, oh no, that ball's hit pretty hard. But you know what he did? He turned around, 180, put his head down, sprinted, turned around, found the ball, and caught it. Wow, that is a true baseball player there. That is someone that knows what they're doing. That is a difficult play to make when you completely take your eye off the ball and just sprint and hope like hell that you can find the ball. And even that you went far enough, not run into the net. It was incredible, and I couldn't get over it. Honestly, I thought that was the play of the game.
Absolutely, and I know my co-commentator, Paul Convoy, the Baseball Scotland president, was disappointed because he had wanted to hear my home run call. But Sylvain, at the very death of that fly ball, he managed to prevent that. So what a game the guy had.
And you'd been practicing it so much, John. And it's so beautiful. The touch of French that you were going to put into it, just to give it that certain je ne sais quoi. Absolutely wonderful. But to give an idea just how important Morisseau's catches are, that's at the top of the 5th. And at that point, your score there is 4-3 to the Breakers. So you're just ahead at that point, and you're facing the top of the order. And he's already caught a long ball out into the field. And then you've got the Devils going on first in a single hit blue and then a stolen base. So you've got a runner in scoring position. You're only one ahead. And this monster bat comes up. And again, this is the one that looks like it's going the distance. If that drops, it's a home run for you 2 runs to go ahead. Even if it just ground rule doubles, which is more likely at Morrison Park, that still ties up the game. And it, as you say, turns around, head down, runs, stops, turns, head up again, and just not only grabs the ball out the air, but probably, he grabs the lead, he holds the lead. And at that point, I think that's the point where the Devils were struggling, because that was the first time they'd had somebody on base from an actual hit for about 3 innings. They'd had base on balls in the previous one, but again, at 2 outs, it just wasn't productive at all. That was the point where they started threatening in the middle of the bunch, and it just, nope, we're going to stop that.
Yeah, it's incredible. After all these years, he's still got the legs, and of course, he made a massive impact with the bat as well. Marina, at this point, I want to take a wee quick trip back in time a couple of weeks to the semi-final. You guys in the semi-final were the 4th seed, just squeaked in the last day of the AAA season. Don't want to dwell on that game too much because it's a long day for us Comets. But you guys narrowly denied the Galaxy in 4th place. You're up against the number 1 seed Cannons, who had absolutely blitzed the league, and I think had pretty much won it by the All-Star break. They took their foot off the gas just a little bit toward the end of the season, and you guys were able to take advantage of that. 6-2 win, and what I've been told was an absolute classic itself in the semi-final. What did it mean to you guys to, first off, get into the postseason after your struggles in 2021, especially, beat the number 1 seed and the league champions to get to this spot in the first place?
Just honestly, incredible feeling for the whole team. I think we started off the season pretty strong. We came out swinging, but then we had a bit of a lull in the middle of the season. That's when we started dropping the seeds a little bit, and we're thinking, oh, you know what, we got to pull our socks up if we want to make it in the playoffs. And at that point, it's like, well, if we get in, like, let's give it everything we had. We had our full team there. We had a great squad. We had a really good game to get into the postseason there. And then, playing the Cannons, that was, wow, we had, nothing to lose, everything to gain in that spot, playing the top seed. And the Cannons, they're a fierce team. They're a big, heavy hitting team. They are, they're great ball players. So we knew we had definitely a game on our hands there. But I think that was one of the best games of baseball I'd ever had the opportunity to be a part of. I thought it was just such a great game. Both teams played so well. I don't know if there were any real errors made in that game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was just a great ball game. Both teams played smart. Both teams played clean. So I'm just wildly proud of my team. And we're just so happy that we were able to get the opportunity to keep playing.
So the following week was supposed to be the Caledonia Classic. Obviously, the passing of Queen Elizabeth II led to pretty much all sports being sort of pushed back the week. Did that extra week affect you guys' preparation in any way, or did it cause any extra nerves ahead of the game?
We had a little bit of worry that not all of our players were going to make the game that was changed. I think there was a potential that if the game was moved to the 25th, the following weekend, that Shin was going to be in London for that. So we're thinking, oh no, how the heck did we get him back? And I think he was going to find a way to get back for the game and then go back to London. But even that, I mean, we had Ryan as well for this game on just this past Sunday. He was in somewhere down south working, and he caught like a 2 a.m. bus to get to Edinburgh and just hung out in the city. And then met us at the field. Like, dude, have you ever slept yet? And he's like, yeah, I got a couple hours on the bus. And you have no idea. He just comes out just raring to go all the time. So I think everyone made it happen. They're like, yeah, no, I'm not missing this game for the world. So it gave us an extra week to prepare, and it was pretty relaxed. We weren't putting a whole lot of pressure on ourselves for practice, but just getting a lot of reps in and just making sure everyone stays healthy and ready to play in the finals. So glad everyone made it.
That makes Ryan's performance on Sunday all the more impressive, because Ryan himself, out in centre field, he had an exceptional game.
Oh, he's just awesome. Like, I can rely on that guy for anything. He's just, his skills, his baseball knowledge, his speed. It's awesome. He's going to make something happen no matter where he is. And I just have so much faith in him out in the field there. Like, he can track down anything. His throw is insane. Like, just so lucky to have him, and such a great batter as well. He gets on the base. I think he stole second, he stole third. Once he got on first, I think his first when he was on base there. Yeah, he was just unstoppable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, there's no rest for the wicked. You guys go again this coming Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's the Single A Caledonia Cup semi-final. We do things backwards in Baseball Scotland. The Single A comes after the Triple A for some reason. But you guys, as the number one seed in Single A, you've got home advantage and you're playing the fourth seed Galaxy. How are your preparations coming along for that? And what do you anticipate from that game?
Yeah, well, really excited there. We're having our training tomorrow after this past Sunday. But we're looking to have a really good squad out. I mean, Single A has just been an incredible bunch of people as well. We're always at practice together. We're always helping each other out. They've put in so many hours to help prep for AAA as well, even though they weren't playing the past 3 weeks. All those players are still coming out and putting in the reps and helping us out as well, knowing they weren't getting as much batting practice time as the AAA players just because of sunlight that we had as well. We had to really optimize our practice time. But that group has just been putting in so many hours for us, and we're really just so proud of them. And they're such such a budding bunch of players as well. We've got such a mix of veterans as well that keep on just getting better and better. We've got a bunch of new kids that have come and trying it out, and yeah, it's looking so good. Not even just for this season, but even just the following ones as well. We've got a lot of really, really good talent there. So we're all pretty excited to play.
And lastly, a word for the guy who, without whom the Breakers would not exist, Jason West. A word for Jason West, Marina.
Oh, geez, just stop me. I could say 3 million words right now, but yeah, honestly, it's monumental what Jason does for the team. Like, we would have none of this if it weren't for him. He's out there day in, day out, getting everything sorted for us, everything that we don't see in the background as well, all the admin, all the working with the council, fighting off people that are trying to, take away our baseball field from us because they think we're destroying the land. Say, no, it's sports, it's great. So no, he's just, we're so lucky to have him. The time and effort and heart and blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, he's out there with a jackhammer. We had these rocks pop up in our field, and he's literally breaking apart rocks. And so picking it up, throwing it over his shoulder, chuck it in the bush, go off to the next one. It's just, he's unstoppable, and he's like, you can just tell how much he cares about the team, and it's really inspiring. And yeah, there's not many words we can say, because what can you say to someone that puts in that much effort and cares so much? So we're so grateful for him.
Absolutely. What a legend Jason is. What an amazing team you guys have been this year. It's been a pleasure to face you guys. One more time, just congratulations on this past Sunday. You guys earned it, and then some.
Thank you.
All the best with the upcoming Single A playoffs, and I will see you potentially in 2 weeks' time. As Ewan, Paul, and myself will be announcing the Single A Caledonia Classic. Yes, you will be, Ewan. You're part of the crew now. I don't know how I'm getting there either, so we'll work something out together. Yeah, so thanks again, Marina, for joining us on the show.
Thanks very much, John, for having me.
Now, Ewan, that's us pretty much wrapping things up. Would you like to plug your podcast before you go?
I've got various podcasts I can plug. I'll choose two. One of them, it's technically the on season, but it's still off season for those of you who love the Eurovision Song Contest. I run a podcast there with a whole team behind me of that called Eurovision Insight, which comes out weekly and tells you all the news. And you think of it like a sport right now. We're sort of not quite the transfer window. We're deciding on the new rules for the year. We're deciding where we're going to host it. We might be in Glasgow. We might be in Newcastle. We might be in Manchester. Who knows? And a lot of broadcasters around Europe are basically doing trials at the moment to decide who they're going to put on TV to select their songs. So we're following all of those there. I like to describe it as, if you like Eurovision Song Contest, it's like liking the FA Cup final, and then somebody tells you, there's football all year round. Same with Eurovision. And the other one, well, there's a podcast just for that. The other one is something a little bit more wholesome. It's called My Cat's Tale, and you'll find that at mycatstailpod.com. It's a weekly podcast where I sit down with guests from across the internet. Question number one is, tell us about your cat. And then hilarity ensues. Or tragedy, or romance, or whatever. It's just cats.
Let's do a Ballcaps and Bagpipes and My Cat's Tale crossover right now. Ewan, ask me the question.
Tell me about your cat.
She died 4 years ago. Her name was Mitzi.
How long did you have her?
9 years, I think.
9 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, already we can start spinning on. I mean, was she stray? Was she a rescue? Where did you find her?
She was my grandmother's cat. And then my grandmother passed, so I kind of kept her for a few years. But she's not here anymore.
You kept the cat, not your grandma.
Neither of them are here anymore. my entire life has collapsed around me, apparently, in the last 8 years.
Well, congratulations, John. Welcome to Therapy in Ballcaps.
I'm glad we had this chat, Ewan.
There's poor San Francisco baseball with the logo fading away, much like
the Giants. Yeah.
Much like the Giants.
Thank you so very much for joining me, Ewan. I'll catch you up with you in a fortnight at the Single A Caledonia Classic. And you can.
We should probably do some rehearsals and run-throughs and decide how we're doing it first.
Yeah, we'll catch up on Facebook with the big
we'll
guy.
Find out something, and you can find out just how bad our preparation is in 2 weeks' time when you do the live stream.
Yeah. Oh, great! We could be sitting. We could be sitting.
Yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to be a wonderful live stream. It's great. You'll do everything. The one play that I wanted to review for the scorecard was just out of shot of the camera. What's the point?
Yeah.
What is the point of having video replay for Baseball Scotland if it doesn't replay the bit you need to video replay?
Maybe you need to set up your own camera at each base.
I don't think we have the budget for that.
My comments teammate Chris Kelly has cameras. He might be able to help.
We need a portable switching desk. We need a lot of batteries. We need a mixing board. Oh, starts getting complicated.
Sounds like a next year problem to me, mate. Sounds like a next year problem. But yeah, for now, I'll let you go just now, Ewan, and I'll catch up with you after the stream.
Ta-ra for everybody now.
So it was an absolute pleasure. Thanks again to Marina and Ewan for joining me this evening. Jason, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, is at work, at some kind of work function, and is expecting to be drinking until about 4 a.m. So he's not able to be here this week. We should hopefully be back with a show similar to this one after the Single A Caledonia Classic, and we'll try and get a chat with someone from the winning team in the Single A Cup. Let's quickly take another quick look at the schedule for this coming Sunday. In the Caledonia Cup Single A semi-finals, the 4-seed Galaxy are, as we mentioned, visiting the 1-seed Tayport Breakers, the Single A Division League champions. The Single A Comets are at home to the Edinburgh Knights in the other semi-final. Those games, I believe, first pitch is 12 p.m. noon, and they will go 7 innings, which is an unusual wrinkle for a Single A game. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 7-inning game factors into the Single A play, because we're not all that used to playing that many innings. As the Comets Single A catcher was saying just earlier today, like he's not sure if his knees are going to be able to hold out for 7 innings. He's used to 3-4 innings over a 2-hour game. So that's going to be interesting to see. And again, I'll be back live with Paul and Ewan for the live stream of the final. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us this past Sunday, and thanks to everyone who's watched tonight. If you're watching this on demand, leave us a like or a comment to let us know. Of course, subscribe to Ballcaps and Bagpipes on YouTube or at your podcast platform of choice. And that's it from me until next time. Bye.